Welcome to the Big Sky Care Connect Health Information Exchange user training. This training is designed to familiarize you with the search and viewer screen in the Big Sky Care Connect HIE. All information in this training is sample, fictitious information. No actual patient information is included. This project is funded in whole or in part under a contract with the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. The statements herein do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the department. This training is designed to help you get the most out of your health information experience and may contain some features not available to your organization. If you have any questions over the features in this training, please contact the Big Sky Care Connect Help Desk at help@mtbscc.org or call 888-937-7396. In this training, you will learn about the features of the search and viewer screen within the Big Sky Care Connect HIE, about patient consent, and viewing search results. When you first log in, the Big Sky Care Connect HIE search and viewer displays. Some things to point out on this screen include selecting the magnifying glass icon in any field will open a drop-down list of options specific to that field. As you can see, the search and viewer screen displays 4 sections to assist you in searching for the correct patient. The first section is Search by Medical Record Number. For the facility field, start typing the facility name and a drop-down of facilities and codes will appear. For the MRN field, type the medical record number for the patient. Note: searching for a patient using this section requires selecting the associated facility and entering the MRN. If you try to search for a patient using only the MRN or only the facility, an error message will appear. In the Search by Demographics section, the fields consist of last name, first name, middle name, gender, street, city, state, zip, phone, and date of birth. For the date of birth, you have 2 different options. You can select the calendar icon to select the date. The calendar widget displays. Click on the month, year at the top of the widget. It is best with this widget to select the year first. Click on the displayed year at the top of the widget, and it will drop down more years to pick from. Use the arrows at the top of the widget to display more year options. The selected year now displays at the top of the widget. And now you can select the month from the display. The calendar then displays the selected month and year. Select the day. The date will display in the date of birth field in the correct format. You also have the option of typing the date into this field. To do that, make sure you type numbers only. 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, and at least 2 digits for the year. Hit Enter on your keyboard, and the date will display in the correct format. This only works for years in the 1900s. If the birth year is in the 2000s, you must enter all 4 numbers for the year. Note: the minimum search criteria for demographics is the patient's first name, at least 3 characters, and the patient's last name, at least 4 characters. Or you can enter at least 1 character of the patient's last name and the date of birth. You can also restrict the patient demographics to a specific facility in the patient record information section. You must still meet the minimum search requirements for the patient search. To make sure the system locates the right patient, you should include as much information as possible. As you can see, we have a note that no matches were found and that some records have been filtered due to consent. If I am in a role that can override patient consent, I would want to go back to the patient search and override that consent to view the patient I need. In the Override Consent Policy section, select the Override checkbox. By overriding patient consent, the patient search results will display information for patients that have opted out of participation in the HIE. By selecting this checkbox, you are required to enter a reason for the override. Select the authorization type, either verbal, written, or emergency. The Authorized by Patient checkbox is selected by default. If the patient does not authorize this override, unselect the box. A new field opens. Enter the or by other. This field is required when displayed. Once you have entered the appropriate information, select Search to search for a patient that meets the entered criteria. Remember, you must enter either at least 4 characters of a last name with at least 3 characters of a first name, at least 1 character of a last name and a date of birth, or a facility and MRN. Select the Clear button to clear the entered information and begin again, or select Search to search for a patient. If the minimum search criteria are not entered, the system will return an error message listing the search requirements. Before we go into the search results, let's pause a minute and discuss patient consent. Big Sky Care Connect follows an opt-out model for patient consent. When a patient is opted out, the HIE still stores their information, but users will be blocked by consent processing from seeing the patient's medical information. Users will be able to see any patient records not blocked by consent. If a patient matches the search criteria and is opted out, a note will display at the top of the search results. If you are in a role that can override patient consent, return to the Search and Viewer screen and complete the Override Consent Policy section, then search again. Searching for a patient using demographics will result in up to 50 patients being returned. The HIE searches for patients based on a matching algorithm that takes typing errors into account. The default search results are based on a phonetic search. Therefore, results may include patient names with different spellings. If you did not get the intended results, return to the patient search by selecting the Back to Patient Search button at the top of the screen. Notice that the system keeps your entered information for you to add to or change. You can clear it and start again, or add to the information to make search results more refined. When you search for a patient using their MRN and facility, the system will return an exact match. If an exact match was not found, the system will display no matches found. Selecting the expand icon at the top of the screen will expand the patient information to include all data sources. A list of MRNs and facilities will be displayed under each relevant patient. Scroll over an icon to view the information it represents. Now let's look at the information available on the patient results list. Identifier. All data sources for the patient's information is listed. Name. Patients are listed last name first. To view a patient's longitudinal medical record, one that includes data from all sources, click on the patient's name in the search results. Gender, date of birth, the patient's street, city, state, and zip code, and weighted match, which is an indication of how well the result matches the entered search criteria. The higher the rank, the closer the match. Data sources will illustrate the type of information available in the medical record using icons. Each data source will list the type of information they contributed to the longitudinal medical record. You can hover over the icons to see what they represent. Each patient will have different icons available depending on the information represented. You can view the clinical icons that you may see in the system on the Clinical Icons Quick Guide. We have learned about the Search and Viewer screen and how to search for a patient, a little about patient consent, and about the search results. If you need further assistance or would like to learn more about Big Sky Care Connect and the HIE, please reach out to us and we will be happy to assist you.